If you can't step away from your business for 2 weeks without it falling apart, you don't have a business. What you have is a very expensive job. Welcome to the 7-Figure Blueprint, where we share real-life stories of contractors just like you and dive deep into the steps they took to grow their business so you can too. My name is Garrett Bake. I've worked with hundreds of contractors, helping them scale their business to 7 figures and beyond. A few months ago, I was on vacation with my wife and we were at the beach. And while we were there, we were talking to another couple that happened to be there next to us with their kids. Now, the wife was super engaged in the conversation. The kids were running around, in the surf, just having a good time. The husband glued to his phone. And I was trying to have a conversation with him, but he was focused on texting and calling and all these different things that were happening. And finally I asked the wife, I'm like, hey, what does your husband do? She said, oh, he's a contractor. I'm like, well, what does he do? And she's like, oh, he's a remodeler. I'm like, oh, well, that's cool, right? And in more conversation with her, unfortunately not him, because he kept wandering off on his phone, talking and whatnot. In conversation with her, we learned that they were doing over 7 figures. And we learned that the husband was working 80 plus hours. And we learned that this was the first vacation, and I use that in quotations, the first vacation that they'd taken in well over 3 years. Now, I use the air quotes for vacation because the truth is the husband wasn't engaged with the kids. He wasn't hanging out, having a conversation with his wife. He was on his phone. And he was on his phone because he couldn't step away from his business. Now, if I was to ask you that same question, could you step away from your business for, a week, 2 weeks? What would happen? What would happen to your business? Would it fall apart? Would it go under? What would happen to it? Now, some of you are like, oh, well, my business would be fine. Okay, stress test it. Go away for a couple days. Turn your phone off for the night. See what happens. And you're going to realize something that most contractors refuse to admit. Your business needs you for everything. Every decision. Who do I need to send this bill to? What do we do because this client wants this change order? Where am I supposed to fill up this truck with gas? I don't have the materials I need for this job. So-and-so didn't show up for work. Like, we can just go on down the list, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. Every decision still runs through you. There's no place that they can reference, so they ask you. They have no idea what done looks like, so they ask you. They have no idea what to do in certain situations, so they ask you, right? You trained your team to do work, or so you thought. But what you really did was train them to have a dependency on you. And I get it. It sucks. Like, I've been there. I've been in a place where my team needs me, where every decision has to run through me. And it's overwhelming, and it's stressful, and it's frustrating. And it can get you to a point where you just want to quit. But here's what I can tell you, right? Last year, we went on a cruise we were gone for 9 days. Then we went to Disney for the weekend. Then we took a 10-day road trip across the US. Then we went to Disney again. Then I went and hiked the Grand Canyon. And I can go through, I think it was 6 or 7 trips or whatnot that we took away from the business without my phone. And the business still ran. How is that? Well, it's the same way that it can handle for you, okay? And here's the key. The number one most important mistake that contractors, especially at 7 figures, make is thinking that the business won't survive without them. Thinking that they still need to be involved in every decision, right? You didn't hire somebody to ask you what to do. You hired somebody to make decisions. The problem is that you haven't given them the authority to make that decision. You haven't given them the autonomy to own the outcome. And so everything keeps flowing back to you. There's a difference between being involved and being required, right? Being involved means you review, you coach, right? You mentor, and you help improve the thing, right? The machine, the systems, the processes. Required means you are the machine, right? You are the thing that if you were removed, the whole thing would break down. So think about this. Could your team complete a job? Maybe that job lasts a day or a week or a month. Could your team complete the job without you? Without a phone call, text message, email? Maybe, maybe not. We've spent a lot of time over the last few months creating systems around helping contractors create systems. In fact, we have some custom AI assistants, if you will, that help with creating these systems. Because what we realized is sometimes it's a little difficult to get the things out of your head. What we realized is sometimes it's a little difficult to give things up without clarity. And so what we discovered was if we can create clarity around the role or the position, then you can create the SOPs or the how-to for that position, right? But you got to create the role first. In other words, why did I hire you? What is it you're expected to accomplish? Is it more of a financial role? Is it more of an office assistant or office manager role, project manager, foreman? Like, what is the position, right? And what are the expectations that I have for you? Now, these are not standard across the board. Why? Because you and I are different. We're going to run our business a little bit differently. But ultimately, you need clarity. The 3 to 5 things that I know by doing these things, you're doing a good job, right? What does that need to look like? The second thing is the standard or the how-to. How do I expect you to do this? And how do I know you've done a good job? Okay. The third piece, and this is a difficult one, is the authority that I mentioned earlier. What can I tell you? What can I give you so that you can make this decision and me not have to be involved, right? The next thing is the scorecard. How do I know you're doing a good job, right? I mentioned it before. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. You need data, right? Your project manager could be like, yeah, we're doing a great job. But if you're not tracking jobs done on time, jobs done on budget, how do you really know if they're doing a good job? If he's telling you that your customers are happy, but you're not getting customer ratings or customer reviews, how do you know, right? The data. So you need a scorecard. So let me ask you this, okay? And this is a really easy way for you to understand this. How many times is somebody coming to you asking a question, right? If the same question hits you twice, okay, it's a missing rule. It's a missing system, okay? If 2 people own something, no one owns it, right? So if you have your office manager and your project manager, both in your CRM, both inputting customer data, no one owns it, right? And so when something's missing, where do you point the finger? You can't. Nobody owns it. Or if you can't measure it weekly, you can't manage it, okay? What are some fast fixes? Number 1, use our custom AI. Haha, shameless plug. But for real, we do have something. And if you'd like access to it, we'd love to talk to you about that. But you need a scorecard, okay? A scorecard for a person. Now, what does that scorecard include? Purpose, outcome, standard, authority, and what is it that I'm going to track, right? In other words, what do I want you to do and how do I expect you to do it? If you can't define that, you can't hold somebody accountable. The second thing, you need a rhythm, right? What is it that I expect you to do, but how often do I expect you to do it, right? They need to understand that. The third thing, you need to move the decisions off your plate, right? Project manager should be able to, for example, approve change orders that are under $2,000 because they should be able to, right? Or whatever threshold you decide. That's less decisions coming over to you. Or something that has less than 2 days impact on the project schedule, right? Or they have a certain dollar amount on their card that they can go if they need to buy missing materials, right? Whatever the thing is, you need to push that authority onto them, okay? The last piece, setting this stuff up is important, but what's more important is tracking it. What's more important is reviewing it. What's more important is holding people accountable to it. Remember, people don't take ownership if there's nothing to own. Regardless of the title that they have, if they don't have ownership, They can't own it. Your job as the owner of your business, hire the right people, put them in the right seats, give them clarity around roles and responsibilities, give them clear scorecards, give them accountability, give them ownership, and off you go. Now, if you're curious about what our role scorecard looks like or how we can help you build roles for your specific business, we'd love to have a conversation with you. You can go to buildpro.io, schedule an appointment, and we'll show you how it works. All right, you know what time it is. It's time to get after it. 3, 2, 1, off you go. Thanks for listening to the show. If you're a contractor doing at least $500K in revenue and still stuck wearing every hat, if your team exists but your systems don't, if cash shows up but clarity doesn't, and you don't know what to do next, go to buildprosystem.com and book your free business breakdown. We'll show you why you're stuck and, more importantly, how you can break free. So go to buildprosystem.com and schedule your free business breakdown today.